Greetings today. We continue and conclude the study of 1 Peter 1:1 and 2. From Peter to the blank ones was studying the sprinkled ones from 1 Peter 2:2. This word for sprinkling is only used here and in Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 24. There it says, "Unto Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling, that speaketh better things than that of Abel." Hebrews 10:22 had said, "Let us draw near with a true heart, in full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience, and our bodies washed in pure water." This is the verb form of the same word that he had used there in noun form. We go back to Exodus 24 and verse 8 to find the reference where it says, "As Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, Behold the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words." Half of the blood was sprinkled upon the altar to dedicate it, and the other half was sprinkled upon the people to dedicate them to God's service covenant. The word appears 33 times in Old Testament verses, referring to the sprinkling of water, of blood, or of ashes. Most significantly, Exodus 29:20 says, "Then thou shalt kill the ram and take of his blood and put it upon the tip of the right ear of Aaron, upon the tip of the right ear of his sons, and upon the thumb of their right hand, and upon the great toe of their right foot, and sprinkle the blood upon the altar round about." Hosea 7:9 says, "Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth it not." Now, here and there means sprinkled. It is the Hebrew word number 4472, ratizo, which means to be sprinkled. It's used 3 other times in Hebrews 9:13, verses 19, and verse 21, where it says, "For if the blood of bulls and of goats, and the ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctifieth to the purifying of the flesh." Again in verse 19, "For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and of goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop, and sprinkled both the book and all the people." Verse 29 of Hebrew 9 says, "Moreover, he sprinkled with blood both the tabernacle and all the vessels of the ministry." And verse 14 of chapter 9 asks this question, "How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God?" So we see Peter's desire for writing this letter was for all those who were selected, sojourned, scattered, sanctified, and sprinkled ones to be filled to the full with God's peace and grace. My desire, my hope is that each one of us qualifies as one to whom Peter has this message, which in God's inspired canon of Scripture preserved for us still applies to us even today. Therefore, the book of 1 Peter is a very practical and valuable message for us today. I invite you to continue to walk with us through this inspired message in order that God's grace and peace might also fill us to the full, making us able ministers of the new covenant, as Paul declared in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse number 6.